Squeezy, good boy. What do you think? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I only got an 88 on my history paper.
Really?
Yeah.
Bummer.
Which one was that?
The civil rights movement. Now we're doing the Vietnam War. Oh, are you happy right there in your son? Are you?
She may be awake. She may just be in there on the computer.
Maybe. The girls and I plan on having lunch. Well, I don't know if Jessica did because she didn't respond, but Jamie and I would have lunch at 12:30 when my thing was over if you want to join us for lunch at 12:30.
I mean, I don't, probably not, because like I said, I basically have to send 2 emails every 15 minutes. So.
What? Sorry.
That's all right.
Hi. Hi. Oh, you're so happy to see me, aren't you? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You walked into my face. You walked into my hand. Where are you going? She's coming back. Sit. She's right there. He thought you were leaving.
Yeah.
Oh. I think he should do the meeting.
Yeah, he's usually a star. He usually stars in them.
Can I give you a hug? Thank you. What? What? Sit down.
Sit right here.
I actually bonked him because he moved towards my hand
Oh,
and
you
my hand
bonked him?
bonked him. Like right here.
He's a tough egg. I knew this was going to happen. What?
What's wrong? You don't have to go out. You just need to be fine. I'll stop touching you, but you don't need to go out. Like, you don't need to go out every 5 minutes because when I'm home alone with you, you don't even come to me. Such a good puppy. Sometimes, most of the time, not always. You want to go to that? Let's go to that.
Well, I need to. He's got to settle. So can you? I need you to actually get Bill on it because I have 6 minutes. I love you.
You'll be okay.
Oh, nice.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Oh, there. Hi.
Hi.
Kevin, I hate you. Look at where you're working.
What can I do, right?
What?
I got my Mickey Mouse cup.
Oh, cute.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
This is Alycia.
Hi, Alycia.
Hi. How are you guys?
We're good.
Trying.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
Alycia, do you have children or are all those your toys?
No, they're mine.
Oh, how fun.
Jennifer, is that even a question? Come on. Boys are the best.
Well, you know, I mean, it would be what mine would look like too. I just was
Absolutely.
curious. I was curious if I was the only one or if there are other people like me. There's other people like me.
Yeah, my brothers, I have two younger brothers, and they collect these Funko Pop dolls, and they have like hundreds of them. And I'm not to that level, but like if there's a character that I'm like, okay, that like really resonates with me, I have to have it. So I have Rainbow Bright, I have Gem, and I have
Oh, I know what those are. Okay.
and Wayne and Garth, and I think that's it.
Wayne and Garth. You got to have Wayne and Garth. I was thinking I need to show that to my kids.
Yeah,
I don't know if Jessica, my 24
My friend has Dwight Schrute
amazing.
and Michael Scott
Of course. I love it.
and all the Golden Girls. I think she has. She has them all at her desk.
Ooh, oh, I need to get B. Arthur, I think.
Yeah. She is like the original badass, wasn't she?
Yes, I love her so much.
Don't mess with my Betty White love. Okay.
I'm not messing with your Betty White love. I just happen to like B. Arthur.
You know, there's actually GoFundMe pages for Betty White right now to keep her alive
Oh my God, I know.
during all this.
Is she sick?
No, she's not. But every time she's trending, the world worries that she either died or she's in trouble. So
Jeez.
we fight back.
Yeah, it's like when you're scrolling and then you see like a portrait of like a celebrity and you're like, oh my God, did they die? Oh wait, no, everything's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, Betty White, she's awesome. So Jennifer, I wasn't sure like format wise, do I just start talking or I wasn't sure how this really goes.
Yeah, we will. I'll admit people in.
Okay.
And then I'll introduce you and kind of talk about whatever. And then really we're looking for like, I mean, you've already spoken to the group, which was cool. I mean, I don't know how many of these people were there that time, but kind of looking like a different, what can you do differently, or how should you position yourself differently right now?
Yep. Yeah, that's great. I have lots of like notes and stuff to go through and tips and all that stuff.
Okay.
But then you were saying there's a question part too at the end, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're scheduled to go on for about an hour.
Okay.
So, you know, whatever you feel like you've covered, I think I put a message in the waiting room this time. I'm learning to use this thing that says, please raise your hand if you have a question.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
so I don't know if you've met, Jill's my assistant.
Hi, Jill. We were emailing, but we never met.
That's Jill.
Hi, nice to see you.
So, and then Kevin is just always early for every meeting he has. So
Cool.
he's just here early. He's actually on our board too. So,
Okay.
awesome. All right. So I have 3 people ready to let in, but I can let them in whenever you and I are done talking and making sure we know.
Okay.
Or there's lots of people waiting. So it's 11:30. So ready?
Okay. I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Frank, I swear, whatever's in the background looks like a personal microphone that you're like constantly talking into. Wait, hold on. What?
At the college said the same thing. It's pretty funny. It looks like Like I wear a different hat, like for a sports broadcaster or news. I can pretty much do everything with that.
Yeah, it's like when you sit there, that's what it looks like. It looks like he's ready to perform on TV.
It's a telescope about, 6 or 7 feet away from me.
Yeah, I figured that out the first time, but then you came back on again today, and I'm like, oh wait, it looks just like him.
Look at this home office this guy's got.
Look at this guy. He's a recording. All right, let's see. I think we have everybody here. So let me start by introducing Alycia. Alycia Yerves is our guest speaker today. Did I say your last name right? I don't think I ever. Yerves. So Alycia spoke to us at one of our breakfasts before on social media and marketing, and she's awesome. And so we thought, what a great person to have come back and speak to us today about how to maybe change your message a bit or make sure the message you want to get out there during this time is out there. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Alycia. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand or type in the chat and we'll get to your questions. So
cool. So hi everybody. Thank you so much to the Chamber for inviting me back. This is really fun. I mean, I know it's not a fun time, but it's fun to at least connect virtually and see civilization. It's I'm sure some of you at least being business owners, like maybe you have work from home business and so you're kind of used to this a little, but for those of you who don't, who have brick and mortars, like I know that this is just insane because I'm talking to my clients constantly who are just like completely shell-shocked about this whole mess that we're in. So I hear you, I feel for you, but I know we're gonna get through this. So I really wanted to talk with you guys about how to maybe pivot your messaging a little bit and how to effectively use social media during this crazy time. So a little bit about me, just real quick. I'm a marketer, designer, educator. I'm the founder and creative director of Alycia Yerves Creative. It's based in Ocean Township, and we do marketing and design for small to medium-sized businesses. And I come from an arts marketing background. I worked for a long time at Two River Theater and Count Basie Theater in Red Bank, doing their social media and graphic design and marketing and stuff. But I've always had a passion for helping small businesses helping small business owners work on their business and not in their business, which I know is a challenge. It's a challenge for me as well. And so one of the biggest reasons I wanted to talk to you guys is just because this is such a crazy time. How do we possibly have the time and strategy to do all this stuff when everything's on fire? So obviously, right now it's important to, be informed and yes, pay attention to the news and all that stuff, but try not to get sucked into it. I have to tell myself to take breaks because it's just a constant onslaught. And it's difficult. And I have a business to run as well. And like I said, I am somewhat used to this kind of quarantine world, but I realize this is kind of a whole new thing for a lot of different people. And one of the things that I was kind of explaining to some of my customers is, how there's that old saying of like, you can always make more money, but you can never make more time. But right now, all you have is time. And it's not to say that you're not already totally stressed with teaching your kids and trying to feed the family and pay your bills and run your business and all that stuff. Like, I completely get that. I'm not, downplaying that at all. But the time that we have right now when we're away from the things, we can't like recreate that. So how can we kind of capitalize on that? And one of the things that's been helpful for some of my clients to understand too is, with everything that's happening right now, if you're an entrepreneur, like we're creative and we just make things happen. We jump out of the plane and we build the parachute on the way down. And as crazy as it might sound, you guys may be better equipped than most to deal with all of this crazy because you're used to being scrappy and like pulling rabbits out of your hat. And so I just think that's like something to remember in like the really, really tough times. You know, just try to stay calm, and we're going to get through this. So one of the things I've been recommending, aside from actually using social media and posting and all that stuff, is before you do that, to try to find and surround yourself with your people online. So what I mean by that is, just like right now, we're having this Zoom meeting, and you know, we can see each other, and it's an online community, and I think that that is awesome. But chances are, whatever industry you're in, whether it is retail, food, law, real estate, whatever the thing is, there is likely some sort of Facebook group or LinkedIn group or something like that that is specific to your industry. And I would really encourage you guys to find one of those groups and join it, because while we're practicing this physical distancing, we're still social beings, and we really need community. And so, you know, being able to connect digitally with your loved ones and your friends, that's great. But it's really nice to be able to commiserate and vent and discuss with people in your industry. So like, you understand, I'm not alone. Okay, someone dealt with this same exact issue. You know, they're another hotel owner, and they're going through the same thing, or they're a pet supply store owner, and they're going through the same thing. And, you know, just being able to have that online space where you can do that is really, really important. And I think, you know, even if you're just going there and lurking, like I know I'm a lurker in certain groups, I think that's totally fine. But, you know, being able to go in there, ask people how they're doing, you know, ask for advice when you need it, give advice when you can, you know, and just listen when people need to vent. I know, for example, I'm in a lot of groups for female business owners. I'm in a lot of groups for social media marketing, digital ads, graphic design, all these kinds of things, email marketing, and just seeing, you know, the same the same situations happening over and over again is really helpful to me. Because I know we all go through those moments of like, what the heck am I doing? I have no idea. And no one has any idea, PS. So it's great. So I would really encourage you to find one of those groups and join, because I think and you could stay, you know, even after this all blows over, like, I think you'll probably like being in one of those groups. Again, even if you're just lurking, it's really helpful. So I would recommend that. Also using this time to get to those things that you haven't had time for, you know, like, for example, maybe there is, you know, you've been wanting to learn Google Analytics, or you've wanted to listen to a really good business podcast, or you wanted to, you know, finally get around to updating your LinkedIn page, or whatever. These are all important things that can really help you build your personal brand and start on that content strategy side. But getting to social media, I think it's really, really important that as this is going on, that you keep communicating with your clients and with your social media followers. You know, I think everyone is in the same boat right now. And as this was starting to happen, you know, I think there was a feeling of a lot of people feeling like they wanted to hide and just kind of go in the shell and like, I can't deal with this, which is totally understandable. But, you know, don't hide. Everyone's in this together. People are really nervous. Questions and fears are normal, you know. So try your hardest not to avoid their anxiety. And, you know, when you're using social media, you're talking to both your clients and your social media followers most of the time. And you should remember that many of your clients are probably business owners themselves. And so, you know, to help set expectations and cut down on cancellations and things like that, you know, you want to maintain communication and be proactive so you can build that trust. And I know as the first couple days of this were rolling out, I heard from almost all of my clients. They were panicked. You know, how do we shift? What do we cancel? You know, we have to cancel this event, or I'm just about to launch something. I'm not going to launch it now. All these kinds of things came up. And it was very stressful because no one was prepared for all of a sudden knowing what to do when this all happened. But I would say use social media to DM your customers, to, you know, check in on them, ask how they're doing. Obviously you may call them or email them too, and that's fine. But, you know, just you want to check in and literally just ask how they're doing. I did that last week to most of my colleagues, and I heard back from dozens of people who were just so happy to have some sort of communication line with somebody. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. What I also was going to say, I'm just pulling up my notes here. You know, you may want to pull together, if you haven't already, some general messaging just to address concerns and inquiries of prospective clients and or your followers, because this is a really important point. Just think about this. Right now, the entire country is home scrolling on their news feeds, and they're doing it all day. And that's not to say you want to be, right. That's not to say you want to capitalize on that or whatever, but it's an important fact, because it also means that if you're not regularly engaging in that feed, you're going to get lost. It's going to get buried because there's just so many people, you know, getting their messaging out there right now. So you definitely want to be keeping that conversation going with your followers. I think one of the easy things that you can do is just explaining the measures you're taking at your place of business. You know, discuss how you're handling the situation. You know, take the opportunity to set expectations in terms of inquiries and follow-up and stuff. Like if you're a wedding photographer or something like that, that's service-based, like just explain on your website or in your social media how things might be adjusted, or how people should contact you at this time, or what you're doing to prepare. All of those things can be helpful. I would also say, don't be afraid to be real and share some behind the scenes moments that maybe aren't so great. You know, but be proactive and communicate. And it may be difficult to adjust to posting regularly. So something that I've recommended to some of my customers too is setting a daily alarm in your phone to prompt you. And, you know, just reminding myself, okay, I need to tweet that, or I need to put that on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. Also, this is related to social media, but not just social media. If you haven't done this already, there are some individual items that you may want to update as all this is going on to inform people about some of the steps that you're taking, or maybe you're adjusting your hours or things like that. And some of those things are, if you have a ticker or a pop-up on your website, you may want to update your business voicemail greeting if you haven't. You could send an email newsletter, you could write a blog post, obviously publish social media content. You could create a video message. You can update your Google My Business listing to change your hours in there if you haven't. You could also put up an announcement there. Obviously, if you have a storefront, you want to put signage on your door. If you have a business that serves large numbers of people at a time, like a school or an arts venue or something like that, you might want to consider doing a robocalling service just to deliver your messaging to a large group of people at once. I don't like robocalls because we all don't like telemarketer type stuff, but it is helpful for something like that. And also, again, going back to that Facebook group idea, once you join your industry type groups, you should also always join your local community or town group. So whatever town that your business is in, or whatever town you live in, join that group and promote your restaurant offerings, your special deals, your delivery info, etc. You know, I would do that every day until this starts calming down. And don't assume that since you posted something once that everyone has seen it. That's just not the case. Obviously, pay attention to the group rules, make sure you're not like spamming people. But if you're allowed to do that, that's a good way to connect with your town residents, you know, if you have a pizza place or something like that. And the other thing is, you know, even though remaining visible on social media during this time is really important, this is really, really, really a big, big point. Even though remaining visible on social media is important, you want to make sure that you do so without striking an inappropriate or insensitive tone during this time by being too selly or too celebratory, or, you know, don't stop promoting your business, but really try to do so wisely. And if your business is currently running any auto scheduled posts or like evergreen digital ads, such as like if you had a general ad for your brand that just like ran automatically until you turn them off, something like that. or you have an agency handling them for you, you may want to just review those ads, such as the pictures, the text, the copy, etc., just to make sure you're not striking an inappropriate tone during this crazy time. You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's hard to be on top of everything in this current climate, but I really want to make you aware, because it can end up harming your reputation. And just in the last 2 weeks, I've seen so many tone deaf ads and promotions on social media, including a few where businesses had to then post a follow-up to apologize because people complained. So you don't want to be in that position. So, you know, if you're running ads at this moment, or any kind of automatic promotion campaigns, you know, maybe you have posts pre-scheduled in Hootsuite or something like that, like just review that stuff and make sure, because, you know, you can pause them, you can edit them, you can cancel them, but your business reputation will really thank you for making sure you don't have those missteps. In terms of social media content, there's about 5 different posts that I've been recommending to some of my clients, as these are kind of safe things to do right now. So I'm going to go through those 5 things right now. Number 1 is, I would definitely encourage you guys to do some sort of transparent update on how your business is doing. You know, show the adjustments being made, show some difficult realities. Don't be afraid to be authentic and show behind the scenes, let people in. You know, we're all craving connection, like I said before. And just like I had mentioned about the social media groups where people like to see that they're not the only ones going through something, that goes the same way for social media. So other business owners seeing that, you know, everyone's in this right now. And it's not to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that. It's just to be real. People really like seeing what goes on behind the scenes of a company. They like putting a face to a name. They like seeing the authenticity and that there are real people behind this business. And so that's one that I would recommend. Another kind of post I would recommend is an asking for help post. So how can your followers support you and give assistance during this time? Like literally, it's maybe being as blatant as saying, like, you know, we're struggling. I really need you guys to order takeout tonight, or I really need you guys to hire me to walk your dog, or whatever the kind of business is. Being real with them, you know, putting it out there and telling them, this is how you can help my business right now. You know, do you sell gift cards that they can redeem later? Do you have a perfect solution for a current client need that they're dealing with right now? But be specific on how folks can help you, because many people are ready to do so. I see posts all the time, like worrying about people's favorite businesses and local businesses and stuff, and how can I help these people? So put it out there, tell them how they can help you. Number 3 is inspire and be of service. So talk about your own experience with this situation that's going on. Share your own tips. What have you gone through? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What did you try? What should people look into? You may also want to consider creating a free download or a free guide or something like that that can help serve your audience with information. So be of service, be helpful, and build that trust. The next one is repurpose old content that will still apply or that will serve as a resource. So like I was saying before, you can't assume that all of your followers have seen all of your posts anyway, because it's just not how it is anymore. So don't worry that you already posted something a few months ago and now you're posting it again. That's actually a good thing. You have a whole archive of content, most likely. So, you know, maybe there is something you posted, you know, over the fall that was like a really good inspirational quote, or a product, a t-shirt that you made that had something that applies to the situation. Or, you know, maybe there was a flashback, you know, happy moment at your company, you know, someone was celebrating an anniversary or something like that. Like, definitely feel free to repurpose what you have. And kind of related to that point is number 5, it's a great time to post those throwback photos and to do some proper storytelling about your business and its origins and its history. This continues to build trust and connection with your future customers. So, you know, a lot of people who maybe love coming to your boutique don't know how you started it, when you started it, how you got the idea, how long it's been in business, what did it look like when you were putting the shop together, what renovations did you had to do, like all of those kinds of things are really interesting content for right now that spreads feel good messaging of, look how far I've come, look how much I've grown. So I would really encourage you to do some of that stuff. Another thing too, and this is somewhat related to social media, although it's not exactly a topic point, but everyone right now is trying really hard to consider creative ways to serve their customers. You see lots of people pivoting and all of these different things. And I'm sure many of you are already doing that. But what are some ways that you can be creative with your business that maybe you haven't thought of yet? A lot of my clients have gotten a punch to the gut to find out that their business is non-essential. I think everyone who has a business thinks that their business is essential. And so it's really difficult to try to figure out, well, what am I gonna do now? Obviously, if you're a food establishment, lots of people are doing, curbside pickup and online ordering and things like that. People are offering to drive and do deliveries for people and do favors and things like that. But I definitely think that no matter what kind of business you have, now is definitely the time to set up some sort of basic online ordering, online presence, online something. Whether it's even selling gift cards online, something like that, but make it easy for people to purchase from you without needing to be physically in front of you. And whatever kind of service or product you offer, it's crucial to do that.
Alycia, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Interrupt and ask you a question? I'm sorry. I know that a lot of the people who are on here today are not really retail focused. We have someone from Georgian Court, a couple of people real estate, event planners, HR, insurance, lots of different types of businesses that are not necessarily the retail, but what can they do? Because all these ideas are great as far as the sales and stuff like that, but what can they do to position themselves also when they're not really, they're not really selling an item? It's a lot of them are service industries or that don't really fall into that category.
Yep, totally understand. And I think a perfect example is what we're doing right now. So right now we're in Zoom. So you guys can do Zoom consulting. You guys can do one-on-one meetings. You can set up a PayPal link or something like that to, if it's a paid consultation or a paid, kind of service, you could set up that and take payment and then have your virtual meeting. Another service that I really like for that specifically is a site called Calendly. It basically, you can put your calendar in there, people can book a time, they can pay for it, book your appointment slot and pay for it right there, and then you have your online paid service meeting. So that's one idea. I think, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely do not have all the answers, but I would definitely say I've seen some realtors saying how they did like virtual walkthrough tours. Like they went and filmed it and showed it to the clients or prospective clients. So that's another idea. Anything where you can singularly be the sole person to do something and film it and have the person watching on the other side could be something that's maybe possible. Obviously, we don't want to put anyone in danger or put anyone where they shouldn't go, but if it's something like that, but I love brainstorming and figuring some of this stuff out. So I think even if you were doing some sort of one-on-one type conversation with your customer where you guys figure it out together. Well, what would work? What should we do? I think everyone right now is really understanding and forgiving and super flexible. So don't worry that you don't have the exact system for how I'm going to operate as a virtual business now. No one has the exact system right now. So if you're putting yourself out there by being creative and saying, hey, you know, I really want to have this brainstorm consultation with you as an interior designer. Would you be okay if I sent you an invoice, you pay me, and then we do a Zoom meeting? Would that work? They're probably going to say yes. Also Facebook Lives, you know, FaceTime, these different kinds of apps and solutions are out there. Another thing too, and this isn't specifically related to a pay platform or how we can make money kind of thing, but I just want to make sure everyone knows about this site called Loom, Loom. And Loom is a site that allows you to, it's kind of a productivity tool where, say you're a website designer or something like that. You basically can use Loom to film a screenshot of you explaining something on your screen. And then it creates a recording of it, and then you send that link to your customer or whoever you want to send it to. It's not just for web designers, it's for anybody. But for example, when I design a website and I want to walk my clients through the newest changes or the newest updates, or hey, I designed this, I changed this how you wanted, whatever. If I can't connect with them on a one-on-one meeting right now, which I can't, and plus everyone's busy teaching their kids and all of this crazy, I know that I can, during my work day, I can do a virtual walkthrough tour of the site with me talking. And then when I'm done, I can send them that link. They can watch it at their leisure, and then they can respond to me via email. So that's just a tool I wanted to just put out there too.
Can I ask a question on Loom? That's something you can create once and keep and use multiple times? Or is it a one-shot deal?
It makes a permanent video. So when you go to Loom, you register for an account. It's free. They have paid versions too, but I've never needed the paid version. But you make an account, and then it'll just install a little thing on your computer to be able to capture whenever you want to record. And then when it's done, it just puts the video in your account, and it also gives you a link to the video. And then you can.
So if you're filling out a spreadsheet on your computer, it's able to capture that data as you do it?
Well, it won't give you the data. It's just, it just films the screen. Yeah, so it won't like download anything that you're typing or anything like that.
So, but it shows what you're typing.
It shows what you're typing, yep.
Yeah, I don't need it to download anything,
Okay.
but it shows what you're entering.
Yep.
And you can do multiple screens and see different pairs.
Yes, yes. And you can go on there, like, after this call or whatever, if you just want to play and do like a fake one for 30 seconds, just so that you can see how it works. And then you'll know how it works. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so I think, going back to what you were saying, Jennifer, like it's definitely, it's challenging to try to all of a sudden have a virtual business. And I think everyone is learning as they're going, what works, what doesn't work. Like I said before, like I definitely don't have all the answers, unfortunately, but I know I've learned a lot just in the last 2 weeks of what people are comfortable with. Like all of a sudden the whole country knows how to Zoom. Like that's not a thing, but all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, oh great, Zoom happy hour, Zoom math class. Like, so anyway, that's been very interesting. But another thing I was going to say too is like going back to the social media idea and the, how can I pivot, my business a little bit and all of that stuff. Thinking about what problems you can solve creatively for your business, for your customers. For example, like I've seen some restaurants, I know I keep bringing up the restaurant thing, but some restaurants are like, putting bottles of bleach and bags of toilet paper, in their lobby so that when you come and do takeout, you could also buy those. So it's like they, get a little more money out of you each time. And then they're using their industrial or commercial connections to be able to offer you an additional product. And that's like something that they know their customers are struggling with. They found sort of a creative solution for that. So think about what you can solve creatively for your customers. And also, what other talents does your team have? Like think about your team members or you yourself. like, what other things do you do? What other things can they do? What can they come up with? What can they, you know, can you have a brainstorm session with your team and strategize, and what can we do for our customers that we haven't done yet? Is there an online workshop I could offer? Is there an online training session or, you know, webinar that I can teach someone how to do something? Can I teach someone how to sing? Can I do, hey, here's how to, you know, plan for your first, I don't even know, I'm not coming up with an example, but, you know, but you and your team are authorities, and you and your team are the experts on whatever your industry is, whatever the topic is. And so what can you sell or teach or do digitally with as little contact as possible, or no contact, and still be able to benefit from that financially? You know, I've seen some fitness centers offering virtual private lessons. I've seen bakeries selling decorate at home cupcake kits for porch delivery. Obviously, you know, restaurants selling butchered meat by the pound for no contact takeout. Art studios selling paint your own kits for curbside pickup. Virtual yoga and meditation lessons. You know, there is something too that I just want to put out there, that you may have to give first. You know, you may have to be willing to give some value for no cost, you know, whether it's a, like I said, a workshop or an ebook, a download, a video, something that might need to be for free to start out, you know, and maybe one of those things could be tax advice if you're a CPA, you know, helping people through this chaos that's happening right now. You know, could you do a Facebook Live where you're just fielding questions and helping people? So that's something I would recommend as well. What else was I going to say in here? I think that was the main kind of bulk of the social media side, in terms of, you know, how can I post appropriately without feeling icky about it? Because I know this is something I've heard in a lot of my groups too. Like, people are hesitant right now because they feel guilty promoting their business. They feel awkward about it. They feel guilty and just uncomfortable. And I totally get that. I really, really do. But I think the worst thing you can do is stop marketing yourself and to, you know, to put a cold turkey stop to it. I understand pumping the brakes a little bit for sure. But don't stop. Don't make a full stop. Because then you're going to run into the issue of your customers thinking, oh, they must have closed. Or, oh, you know, what happened to them? Oh, I hope, you know, I hope that store is still open. Or I hope I can still, you know, go and have my my taxes prepared there. I hope she's okay. I hope my hairstylist is still around. Like, these are all different kinds of things. So you really want to make sure to, you know, even if it's just posting a selfie, like, hi, I'm still around, like, you know, putting yourself out there and just reminding people, I think is really, really important. You know, and the other thing too is just, even though everything seems so overwhelming right now, like, I know we're going to get through this. I know you guys can do this. It's just taking time to just think through it a little bit. And giving yourself grace too, like, understand that, like, nothing is perfect, and like, there's going to be mistakes, there's going to be missteps, you're going to fall off the consistency wagon, like, that's okay. But, you know, as long as you get back on, and learn from others and see what other things are going on, good and bad. You know, you may see some posts or some promotions from businesses or whatever, and see, like, oh, that went bad. Like, look at all these bad comments. I don't want to do that. I don't want that mistake to happen to me. I think is definitely something to keep in mind as well.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Alycia?
Yes.
Nobody put a hand up. Like,
I did.
Frank.
I could just press the space bar. So
Yeah, go ahead.
well, hi, Alycia. Thank you for that. Jennifer mentioned Georgian Court University, which is where I am right now. And, you know, so it's a different type of industry, of course, different type of business. we were preparing actually for weeks, to go to a virtual, educational setting, which is not easy when you're, very much, certainly a college campus is probably the farthest from social distancing, in many ways. So we've had to adapt and done so. And we're still, of course, learning, and it'll be good, heaven forbid, anything like this happens again. But I think it also provides an opportunity because it's given us sort of pause to see what options we can have, not just in traditional educational senses as far as online, but also with continuing education with our Center for Professional Studies, which is something ironically new that we launched this year, with a myriad of different ways to enhance your career, or look at a new avenue as well. It was supposed to be in person, and we've had to turn that online, and it's sort of uncovered something. So you never know some of the things that you do find in that sense.
Yeah.
As for me personally, I'm in the advancement department, so it's fundraising essentially, which gets a little tricky when you talk about timing and tone and all of that. Just a quick example is, look, we have a pretty robust nursing program, and that's what we basically pivoted to right now. We have thousands of graduates that are on the front lines of this now. Heck, we have current students that, are doing their clinicals that are aligned at Jersey Shore Medical Center. Now they're sort of playing a significant role, but, a safer one in, OBGYN, neonatal, pediatrics, but, giving the others that are more seasoned the ability to do that. So we've pivoted toward, our healthcare, healthcare focus, as well as a fund that we have called the Angel Fund, because it makes perfect sense. We have 50 international students that are still on campus right now, can't go anywhere. So we're basically, trying to triage them too. So, the messaging and trying to just focus on the things that that can make a difference in all of this, sort of community rallying around each other. So that's been, something that, we've sort of come out of all of this as well, and hopefully we'll come out of it stronger.
Yeah, I think that is really smart what you guys have done already. I think that's an excellent idea. It basically, it makes it relatable, and it connects to people's hearts, quite frankly, and it makes them understand, okay, this is what I'm supporting, literally. These are boots on the ground, and this is how I can support. And I think, and I'm sure you're doing this already, but, being proud of your alumni and publicly thanking them and building out those stories, I think is important as well. And the other thing too, is I was going to mention, and I don't know if you've done this already, when you're talking about making these pivots and you guys have, decided to promote these efforts and go this angle, I don't know how involved the students are in those conversations or those discussions, but it might be worth leaning into your student government a bit on this, to see how they can support messaging. What creative ideas do they have? What angles might they know about, and to really help you even extend this messaging and get it out in a way to their peers, to the next generation, and that kind of thing. They may have some good ideas there. Something that I just heard on I forget if it was a podcast or an article yesterday, but they were talking about these strategy type meetings and business pivoting meetings and stuff. And they were saying how very often the customer service reps, the data analyst people, all these kind of lower level people are sometimes left out of these important conversations, where very often they may have a lot of the really good nuggets of info and nuanced kind of, no, we can't do that, and here's why type things that could be helpful. And I think that might be something to think about too at the college. There may be someone, a student with a really excellent idea for how to extend this.
Yeah, thank you for that. We have been engaging the student government as well as the population as a whole.
Great.
Especially around something that's going to be meaningful to them, like commencement.
Absolutely.
What are we doing with commencement?
Yeah.
There's virtual options. Do we, delay it, to more convocation later in the beginning of the next semester? So there's a lot of robust, good discussion and engagement happening
Great.
across
That's
the
great.
board. Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else have a question for Alycia?
Oh, yeah. Someone on the bottom.
Andrea?
Oh,
Right.
well, I wasn't the one who waved. I know Kathy
waved.
waved.
I think it was Kat.
I did. Can you hear
Kathy.
Yes, I can hear you now.
me? Hey.
Okay.
So I'm the HR consultant lady. Hello.
Hi.
Thank
Hi.
you for your tips. I do have a question. See, I never relied on social media because my business as a consultant has always been word of mouth, going from client to client. Now I find more time and it's like, okay, I really should embrace it, but I don't have that much because I actually have noticed more traction into my website and into my Facebook page and everything else, of which I never felt was very important to me because mine was always word of mouth. But I'm like, all right, this is probably the opportunity to jump into that and teach myself and do something. But at the same time, I'm like, I have nothing out there. So what do I look like? Like, where do you start? Like I spend so much time writing those 3 or 4 lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tips
Sure.
around like, just getting started because you can now, and we know it's important.
Yep. I definitely would recommend that you do that. I think, do you have a website as well?
I do.
You have a website. Okay.
But I barely kept update. It's kind of, so it's a good time to start and put things on. I assume.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another thing too, related to the website and having this extra time too, is taking this opportunity to flesh out and maybe reword or revisit your list of services, your rates, your packages, whatever those things are, so that then once people once you're driving traffic to your site through social media, through word of mouth, through digital ads, whatever, you want to make sure that your website is as updated as possible with that information, so that people can understand what you do. And this goes for anybody. Understand what you do, what you offer, and all of that stuff. In addition, another thing that you could do before you start tackling social media content is your current and past clients, ask if they'll leave you a review. Because that can be really, really beneficial, because you're talking about most of your business's word of mouth. People are trusting online reviews these days as much as a recommendation from a friend, and everyone is Googling everybody to find out who to do business with. And so I would definitely say, send them an email, text them, call them, whatever, ask them, would you be willing to review me on Google or on Facebook? Google is best because it helps with SEO and stuff. But if you don't have a Google listing, ask them to review you on Facebook. Then, in terms of starting social media, one thing I want to make clear is people should definitely see social media as a tool and not the answer. Because with social media, you do not own your followers. And, if something were to happen tomorrow and all social media goes down, then, these connections and content that you've been building forever with your followers, it could all go away. So that's why it's important to have a website, and it's also important to have an email list. Even if you're not doing email marketing yet, at least start collecting email addresses, so that should something happen with social media, you're still able to have a chain of communication with folks. In terms of getting started with social media though, sorry, I went on a tangent.
Oh, that's great.
Tends to happen. But with social media, I would definitely recommend that you start to think about who your ideal customers are. Who are the customers that you want to work with? Where are they located? What industries are they in? How big are their companies? These kinds of questions. What things do you respond to? What things do you want to avoid? All these different kinds of things, so that you can start thinking about who your ideal customer avatar is, and then always have that in your brain as you start to plan content, and also as you start to plan, well, what social media channels do I want, or platforms do I want to be on? I always tell people, you don't need to be on all these platforms, because there's always going to be the next big thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, start with one, get good at it, get comfortable with it, and then you can start doing a second one. So, does it make sense for you to have your main social media platform be Facebook, be YouTube, be Twitter, whatever the platform is? You can kind of start to figure out, which one is right for you. Then once you've picked that platform, You want to make sure that you customize your profile, get your logo on there if you have one, make sure your email address is on there, or your website, your phone number, all of those important details. And then when you're thinking about what the heck am I going to post, it's a good idea to think about creating what I call content pillars. And what I mean by that is every single business, no matter what kind of business or company you have, should be able to think about topics that their business can post about that are more than what their product or service is, to basically broaden and give variety to your social media content, so that you're not just sell, 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 because no one wants that, and no one wants to read that, and no one wants to engage with that. So for example, you could post about the community that you're in and the town that you're in. You could post about your great team, your great staff. You could post about inspirational quotes and motivational quotes that have to do with your industry. You could give trending tips in your industry that are about your industry but not about your business. You could give examples of, for example, a popular thing that I've seen in some influencer social media accounts and stuff is like showing something in use in a movie or in a TV show. Like if someone was selling a pair of shoes, they show, the actor wearing those shoes on the runway or something like that. Like it's related to a product that they sell, but it's not them. And another thing that is helpful in terms of helping you get your mind around how am I going to manage all of this is creating a basic editorial calendar for yourself that lays out maybe a month's worth of content where you're plugging it in on an actual calendar, and then it kind of gives order to your brain where okay, I already have my post for next Tuesday. I'm going to talk about my new puppy and blah, blah, blah. And then 2 days after that, I'm going to post about our brand new promotion at the shop and why people need to get it. And then 2 days after that, I'm going to post about it's our founder's birthday. Let's all celebrate their birthday, whatever the things are. But laying it out, getting it out of your brain and onto paper or onto an app on your phone, something to just help you get a leg up so that you're not frantically trying to figure out what to post and then, 3 weeks go by and you don't post anything. So those are some tips I would recommend there.
That's terrific. Thank you. That's some great advice. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Anybody else? Hit your space bar to unmute yourself if you'd like.
Alycia, I appreciate the Loom. I'm gonna look into that. I really appreciate what you had to say.
Oh, thank you.
I don't have anything to sell. We buy houses.
Okay.
When we sell them, I'm not really advertising via my website. It's just a place people sort of visit. But I do coach, so I'm going to be using that for the coaching portion of what I do.
Awesome.
I'm very grateful for that. But what we've been doing is a lot of Zoom meetings. So I probably have meetings 3 times a day. I run a RIA group in Baltimore. Normally we meet once a month. Now we're meeting weekly. It's becoming interesting because I have to find someone to speak at every event. And so I'm talking to a lot more people.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Alycia, I have a question. What would be, so for example, the chamber is offering these types of events twice a week. Other than putting it on our social media, which Kendra does, I think we do an event on Facebook for each one. And I do the e-blast.
Mm-hmm.
How else can I get the word out there? Because what we're looking to do in the way we have revamped ourselves is we're trying to offer our members another platform to advertise what they're doing, to do all the things you said, but to use us as one of those platforms. We're doing news releases. We're trying to put posts up about who's operating and operating differently on our site. We're trying to be an extra outlet for our members. So how do I get that message across?
Do you mean when you're saying to use AMAC as another channel, do you mean like by people having ads on your website? Is that what you mean?
Not ads. We're doing, we're doing blurbs, like a news release or we have this thing called Market Space, which we're figuring out. We've started labeling our businesses adjusted social distancing businesses. So those show up in a special place. So something that has changed the way they do business. So for example, we have a photographer who normally does studio shoots, but she can't do that. So what she's doing is she's saying, drive up to my yard. Everything is set and I can do an outside photo shoot and we're still 6 feet apart. And you can still get your picture and I can still do my job. Creative ways that our members are working and let people know that. So I want to, and we're still working out the details of how to make it appear on our website. So we're still doing that internally with our web designer who's doing everyone else's websites this crazy time. So we're working on it, but I want more people to know what services we're offering this time because we are still in the business of helping our businesses.
Yeah. So a couple things. First of all, like when you were talking earlier about, okay, I make the Facebook event, I do these things. One of the things I was going to recommend is, doing some Facebook ads, doing some paid ads. Another thing I was going to recommend is putting the event of this virtual meeting, for example, on lots of different free calendar and event listing sites. I use those a lot for my customers. Whether it's the calendar listing section of Asbury Park Press or the calendar listing section of Craigslist or Eventer or, Meetup or Event Seeker. There's all these different sites that most of them are free and they're time consuming. That's the downside of it, but they help so much with driving traffic to your site because it's more mentions of you online. So they're all backlinks to your site. So that's something I would recommend. Another thing I'd recommend is in terms of you wanting to get this messaging out about these new initiatives you guys are doing and stuff, I would consider, if you're not blogging already, to do a blog. And if you haven't done that, to do a LinkedIn article about it as well, because LinkedIn articles rank on SEO. Or rank on Google for your SEO. So that's definitely something to consider. And that way you can almost treat the blog or the LinkedIn article as kind of a press release where you can have one link to send everybody with all of the info so they can read about everything in one spot. So that's something I'd recommend. Another thing I'd recommend is maybe there are additional podcast opportunities for you to appear to talk about this stuff. Maybe there are some, I know more and more people, especially now, like everyone has a podcast now all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks. So maybe there are some opportunities for you to be a guest and to connect with the local area and talk about this and how businesses can benefit from partnering with you guys. Another thing too is I don't know how much, well, actually this wouldn't apply anymore. Never mind. I was going to say, oh, you should go, go a little old school and go print out some flyers and hang them up at the library. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Nobody's going to those places. So yes.
Never mind. But, when this all dies down, sometimes those old school methods do work, depending on what the thing is, because they stand out. It's like, sometimes, like I've used this example before, I do a lot of work in the arts and entertainment industry. And, everyone has like a digital media kit now for their band or their musical or whatever. But the people who send a physical kit to the producer with like a CD and a sticker and a t-shirt and all this stuff, and they're like holding it in the box, it like makes it stand out. So some of those old school kind of things can work sometimes. So yeah, those are a couple things I would recommend. I would also say, maybe you can lean into your membership or your board to assist more in the distribution of these updates and messaging. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how it all works on that side, but, maybe there's a communications committee or something like that where everyone agrees that we're gonna divide and conquer, and you need to get it on these 10 sites and I need to get it on these 4 sites and I need to, outreach to this person. What else could I say about that? maybe some of your vendor or community partners could assist with that messaging too. Like I know you do a lot of events at Monmouth Park. Are there any angles there where they'd be willing to trade, like, could you trade space in each other's emails? You know, that's something that has worked a lot for my customers sometimes too, because no one wants to trade email lists because you can't do that. But how could I reach your email list? How could you reach my email list? Great, let's swap a tile. What are other chambers that you could connect with? I mean, that's a thing too. Some people are in, you know, multiple chambers. And how can you partner instead of competing, kind of thing? It's a little delicate, but you know, that could be a thing. Also, those networking groups, LaTip and BNI and things like that. Like, how can you get your messaging in there? And I don't have the answer for that, but like,
no, but that was perfect. That was a lot of, that gave Jill and I a whole next week's worth of work to do.
Okay.
So we are almost at the end of our hour. I wanted to make sure if anybody else had a question for you, they had the opportunity to ask. No? Okay, I think that's about it. We got 3 minutes. You got any last amazing words of wisdom for 3 minutes? 2 minutes?
Well, I was gonna say, you know, obviously, like I really enjoy being a resource. I really enjoy, you know, helping as much as I can. It doesn't matter if you're my customer or not. I really just like to help, truly. So you can always feel free, guys, to reach me through my website. You can email me, find me on social media. I'm all over the place. I also have a Facebook group too, for marketing tips for small business owners. And I'd be happy to send you that information. But yeah, I would say, you know, if you're struggling with something or you're trying to figure something out, just shoot me an email, you know, send me a message, call me, whatever. Send me an Instagram message, and I'm happy to help as best I can. And what I've been doing as well is over the last like week-ish or so, I have had a couple mini brainstorm sessions, like 15-20 minutes, where I just kind of connect with you and help you hash out whatever the heck is going on. And I'd be happy to do that with you guys. So just get in touch with me, and we can work that out.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you very much, Alycia, for giving us your time today and your expertise. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We will be here Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock with Scott Bliss from Sandler Training, and he's going to be talking about how to adjust your leadership in these uncertain times and come out as a leader, either in your business, in your industry, in your life, with this situation, is just how, you know. So that'll be pretty exciting. So, and that's a happy hour, so bring your own beverages and snacks and join us at 4. So.
Cool.
And next Monday we will have next Monday is Kathleen Connolly, who will be from Linda Berry McCormick, Estabrook and Cooper, and she'll be talking about all the new employment laws that have come through this. So thank you very much. Thanks everybody for coming, and please reach out to us if you have other ideas or anything like that. We will talk to you soon.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.